Hey dude, thanks again for the Darth Plagueis pictures. Is there any way I can make it up to you?
Well, there's a matchup that I thought of that I think would be right up your alley.
Sure, what did you have in mind?
Volfe Karkko versus Count Dooku.
I could do that. Born to nobility on the planet Sereno over a century before the Battle of Yavin, Dooku was the apprentice of Grand Master Yoda. A calm but stern individual, Dooku was considered by many to be one of the Jedi Order's greatest warriors, and was even the master of the famed Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn. Known for his public discontent with the practices of the Senate, Dooku left the Order following the death of his former apprentice, becoming the 20th Jedi to do so. After being approached by the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, Dooku was converted to the Sith cause and was dubbed Darth Tyrannus by his new master. Following this, Dooku helped instigate the Clone Wars, serving as the leader of the Confederacy of Independent Systems and even helped bring about the creation of the Clone Army for the Republic. Dooku served as the public face of the Sith up until when, in 19 BBY during the war's climax, Dooku was pitted against Anakin Skywalker on a board Invisible Hand. Though he fought well, Dooku was decapitated by Skywalker, realizing all too late that he was just a placeholder for his master's true apprentice. Dooku is known for being one of the key figures in the Clone Wars, and as a fierce warrior whose skills were matched by few. Volfe Karkko was a Jedi Master who served the Jedi Order centuries before the Naboo Crisis. Known for not only being the galaxy's sole Anzat Jedi Master, but his powerful command of the Force, Volfe felt that he was beyond the primal desires of his species' act of consuming the life force of other beings. It was this pride that caused Volfe to believe experiencing the act only once would be harmless. However, after tasting the essences of beings, Volfe immediately became addicted, and used his Jedi powers to gather more life force to sat his ever-growing hunger, falling to the dark side in the process. Following a fierce battle on Kifex with the Jedi Council, Volfe was imprisoned in a stasis chamber on Kifex by the Jedi, where he remained for hundreds of years. Finally, in 30 BBY, Volfe was freed by the Jedi Padawan Aayla Secura, whose memory was still lost to her following events on Ryloth. Taking Aayla as his dark apprentice, Volfe started to gather the life force of the surrounding beings in an effort to make himself strong enough to leave the planet. Not long after, though, Volfe was confronted by Jedi Knight Quinlan Vos, who attempted to rescue his brainwashed apprentice. Volfe was defeated, and Quinn was able to rescue Aayla from the Dark Jedi's mind control. Volfe Karkko is remembered for his incredible power in the Force, and his manipulative and cruel attitude. First, we will compare them physically. Dooku is an 86-year-old human male and is in insanely good physical condition for a man his age. While well past his prime, Dooku has little difficulty keeping up with much younger combatants, though much of this was due to Force augmentation. He has also demonstrated a high pain threshold, as he was able to fight Ventress and two other Night Sisters even while under the effects of a magic toxin that dulls senses, for a substantial period of time. Dooku was also a very capable unarmed combatant, though this style of fighting was not preferred by him. Overall, while he is in very good physical condition, he is still quite old and susceptible to fatigue. Volfe Karkko is an Anzat and well over centuries in age. Even despite this though, he still appears to be in good physical condition. Anzat are a humanoid species that display a high level of speed and toughness. However, the trait that Anzat are known for is their ability to feed off the life force and brains of others. In each of their cheeks lies a retractable tentacle that, when inserted in the noses of its prey, allows the Anzat to literally devour the brains of the recipient. During this process, the Anzat can actually see the life and the memories of the targets, literally devouring their life force. Ew. Volfe's skills in unarmed combat are a little difficult to gauge, as he has never demonstrated skills in such a manner. However, Anzati assassins were famous for their skills in battle, and were noted Jedi killers. Considering Volfe was a legend even among his own people, we can assume this does mean he has some skills in unarmed combat, though this is purely speculation. While Dooku may be in extremely good shape for a man his age, and he has all the benefits afforded to him by Force augmentation, Volfe has that, plus his species' natural toughness and their brain-eating tentacles. It is for these reasons that Volfe Karkko will be granted the edge in physical ability. Now we compare them as martial artists and lightsaber duelists. Dooku was a master swordsman and was undoubtedly one of the greatest lightsaber duelists of his age. According to the novel Yoda Dark Rendezvous, the only people in the entire order who were able to match Dooku in a duel were Yoda and Mace Windu, though this was likely judged for a specific time frame. Fitting his elegant nature, Dooku was a master of the Makashi style, the second form of lightsaber combat. Makashi is a style geared for lightsaber dueling and greatly emphasizes elegance and fluidity. It also has a heavy focus on subtle but precise movements, opening up the slightest weaknesses in a former stance. Dooku was an absolute master of this style, and he took it to its absolute nth degree. As a dedicated fencer, Dooku's style was characterized by an elegant precision that very few could stand against, and he was able to open up the most devastating of weaknesses with the simplest of moves. However, for as many benefits Makashi gave Dooku, he was also prone to his weaknesses. Due to its finesse, Makashi is unable to produce a lot of kinetic force, and is extremely weak against aggressive styles like Djemso or Juyo. However, this weakness was not easily exploited with Dooku, and he has successfully defended himself against a variety of aggressive and straightforward duelists, indicating that only the absolute best could defeat him. Makashi is also weak against blast deflection, though Dooku was able to compensate through strength training. While some sources like the deleted scene from Attack of the Clones, the comic adaptation of the same movie, and the cover art for Star Wars Clone Wars Volume 4 all depict Dooku having skills in dual blade fencing, he has never actually demonstrated such skills in combat, and Dooku has even expressed his distaste for such a practice in the novel Labyrinth of Evil. Though this is kind of ironic considering how many of his students were dual-blade fencers. While Volfe Karkko was a Dark Jedi of legendary status, it's pretty clear that this was due to his command of the Force rather than his skills with the blade. While he's only been involved in one serious lightsaber duel, we can evaluate his moves and make an educated guess regarding his style. Volfe has a strong tendency to utilize a reverse hand grip on his lightsaber, and he appears to have a preference for power attacks. It is these tendencies that have led me to believe that Volfe specializes in Form 5, specifically the Xian variant. Meant to act as Sarisu's answer to the lack of offense, Xian focuses on attack backed up by a strong defense. Essentially a good style to use against multiple blaster-wielding enemies. However, while it is a good style to use in combat, Volfe's skills with the blade are noticeably lacking, and he demonstrates an almost unwillingness to draw his blade, instead preferring to use the Force. This is evidented when he opted to use Ayla to engage Quinn instead of himself, and he only clashed blades with Quinn once he forced him to, and it's clear that Quinn was the superior duelist from the beginning. I don't think it's much of a surprise who gets the edge here. Volfe's main weapon is, and always has been, the Force, and he is clearly out of his element when forced to draw his blade. Dooku, by contrast, was a master duelist, and his dueling-centric style was incredibly refined and deadly. In my opinion, the real difference between these two as swordsmen comes down to how each of them engaged Quinlan Vos. During their fight, Volfe mainly relied on evasion and surprise to take down Quinn, and mainly utilized his force abilities over his lightsaber. Sure, he did blade lock with him, but this was only when Quinn charged him and left him no other choice. And even then, Volfe immediately broke off the engagement and utilized his force abilities. Dooku, by contrast, was more than willing to meet Quinn's assault head-on, and completely dominated them during their fight. While he too ultimately won using his force abilities, it's pretty clear Quinn was screwed either way. Add to this Volfe's obvious dislike of lightsaber dueling, and the conclusion is clear. Dooku gets the edge as a martial artist and lightsaber duelist. Now we compare their Force abilities. Dooku was an extremely powerful and skilled Force user, and due to his decades of experience, had a large variety of well-honed skills at his disposal. His Force pushes and shoves were highly advanced, and he was able to lift multiple objects at once with little difficulty. He was also particularly fond of telekinetically throwing objects at his enemies, thrashing them with whatever he could find in a fierce display of power. He was also quite skilled in the healing arts and Force-augmented speed, and was able to move faster than even most trained Jedi could perceive. He was even capable of self-levitation and could remain suspended in mid-air for a long period of time. Dooku has also shown great skill in both the Jedi Mind Trick and the Beast Trick ability, so much so that he even tamed and kept a wild crate dragon as a pet. He was also highly skilled in Tutaminis, and was able to block lightning and other projectiles with ease. After becoming a Sith Lord, Dooku also gained a variety of dark side abilities, taught to him by Sidious. He was very skilled in Force Lightning, and was able to generate bolts strong enough not only to kill, but to send people flying. He was even able to chain torrents of lightning through multiple targets at once, and was able to kill entire groups with just one blast. He is also highly skilled in Force Choke, and has even demonstrated the ability to rip through the Force shields of opposing Jedi. Volfe Karkko, like Dooku, was an extremely skilled Force user, and as mentioned, preferred it heavily over his lightsaber. His Force pushes and shoves were highly advanced, and he was able to throw multiple objects with ease. He was even able to grapple and suspend Quinlan in midair, effectively freezing him in place. His telepathic skills were also considerable, as even when in stasis, he was able to call on Ayla's mind and compel her to free him. Once free, he was able to suppress Ayla's will with his own, and effectively brainwashing her into becoming his servant. Also, as he was able to catch and redirect Quinn's lightning barrage, this does mean he was highly skilled in Tutaminis. He was a master at Force Lightning and favored it heavily, and has been shown to generate bolts with more than enough power to kill. One ability that set Vulf apart though was his mastery of Sith magic and illusions. He was able to craft illusions so real that he even fooled Quinlan Vos with a phantom image of himself. He was able to conjure beasts and even temporarily cloak his presence in the Force, though skilled Force users could resist them. However, his skills in magic seem to only be limited to illusions and deception, as he has never been shown to utilize Force blasts or curses in battle, though he was still an undoubtable force to be reckoned with. As it stands, both combatants are highly skilled Force users, with a wide variety of skills at their disposal. However, neither of them possesses a definitive edge over one another. Both possess both light and dark side abilities, and they both possess effective counters to each other's skills. And the few skills they do possess over each other wouldn't really make a huge difference, as Dooku's Beast Trick ability obviously wouldn't play a factor, and Volfe's illusions, while dangerous, wouldn't be a deciding point, as Dooku's strong will would likely mean he could shrug off the effects with some difficulty. And as far as raw magnitude goes, they are again on the same level, as Dooku was widely considered to be matched only by Yoda and Mace Windu, while Volfe was only subdued when the entire Jedi Council confronted him. And we all know Quinlan only beat him through battle meditation enhancement and by preying on Volf's weaknesses in lightsaber dueling. Since there's no real defining factor here, I declare them equals as Force users. Now we compare armament and tools. Dooku utilized a curved hilted lightsaber of very artistic design as his primary weapon. Dueling lightsabers of this design were designed to fit better into the palm, which allowed for better blade control and leverage for certain power attacks. This design also allowed users to quickly adjust the angle of the blade for swift and unexpected attacks. His lightsaber also featured a dual phase function, which allowed him to quickly lengthen the blade for surprise attacks. His weapon utilized a single red synthetic crystal as the focusing lens. Volfe Karkko utilized a standard lightsaber of relatively simple design. It features a long hilt with hand grips on the lower parts, which signifies Volfe's reverse hand grip preference. It utilized a single red synthetic crystal as the focusing lens. This one's really no contest. Dooku's lightsaber provides a huge amount of benefits and options in battle, while Volfe's was almost the definition of standard. Dooku gets the edge in armament and tools. And now, the verdict. Both combatants are extremely skilled Darksiders, with a wide variety of powerful and well-honed abilities. However, this battle really comes down to who's the more well-rounded fighter, and in this regard, Dooku is the more skilled combatant. While Volfe is powerful, he actually suffers from the opposite problem to someone like Ulic Qel-Droma: complete devotion to Force abilities. Dooku, by contrast, has a greater balance between his Force abilities and his skills with the blade. I believe this fight would play out like a combination of the first half of Dooku's battle with Yoda, Dooku's first duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the second half of Volfe's battle with Quinlan. It would begin as a battle of Force abilities, with both of them likely ripping and throwing objects at each other and blasting each other with Force lightning. Due to their similar skill sets, they would be evenly matched for a great deal of time. However, once Dooku draws his blade, it's all over. Volfe Karkko would be virtually helpless against Dooku's incredible skills with the blade, and would get cut down swiftly and precisely. I declare Count Dooku, Dark Lord of the Sith, the winner. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that Versus series. Please leave suggestions for future Versus series in the comments section below. And as always guys, this is just my opinion, no one else's. Also, don't forget to check out Jinsurai's channel if you haven't already, as this battle was his suggestion and I thank him for it once again. Also, a quick announcement, I will be attending WonderCon up in Anaheim this Easter on April 20th, so I hope to see you guys there if any of you are attending. Well, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.